On this episode of the podcast, Lance tries to convince me his is as long as Drake's, but gets thoroughly embarrassed when his little carrot stick breaks.
Welcome to my party. We're just getting started. A life is a dream.
Welcome back to another episode of the Absolute Geek Podcast. As that band Stains once said, it's been a while. It's been a while.
That's Matt.
I promise you I did not forget how to do this.
And I'm Lance. And just so you know, my wife loves my carrot stick.
Yeah. But sorry it's been a while. We've been away, family things, holidays, craziness, sick kids, just the life we both live now. So we promise, I know, broken record, we promise to give you more of a regular schedule moving forward now. I think both of our schedules are clearing up a bit now since the holidays are over. So hopefully a little bit clearer, but I can't commit to anything. I come on here every week and I'm like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. More consistency. Then it's like 3 weeks, a month. I was looking at it was like a month ago that you recorded your last episode. I was like, God damn it. We got to record an episode this coming week. But hope everyone's doing great. How are you, Lance? How's things?
I'm good, except I think I broke my toe yesterday.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah, the whole bottom of my foot's all bruised and top of my foot's all bruised. And I guess if it's the bottom and the top, my whole foot is bruised. But it fucking hurts, dude.
Because you can't leech off my DirecTV anymore.
I know.
Like,
my
son
heart
of a bitch.
My heart bruised.
Yeah.
Fucking broke up.
Shut that shit off because not paying.
That's fucking highway robbery, dude. What you were telling me what you pay?
$200 for one TV. I mean, granted I have the access to like their streaming app through all my other TVs, but $200, man, and I don't watch that many channels. I can only watch like a handful of channels. So
yeah, I go on, like, we'll go through all our streaming services. I'm like, fuck, I can't find anything to watch. All right, well, let's go see what's on that DirecTV thing and see if there's anything. There's shit, dude. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
and
anybody that buys TV for anything other than sports, like, it makes absolute no sense to me when streaming services are so readily available.
Well, I watch a lot of stuff on live TV, but I don't watch live TV anymore. Like, I DVR it and I go back and watch it later because most of my time it's my kid watching Bluey or Yo Gabba Gabba, or my TV is just purely dominated by my child. I know I'm not alone in that boat, but
yeah, and you can't really like move that box around, right? Like, it's just stuck on that TV, and it's not like a fucking Google Chrome stick or something you can just go plug in the TV. Yeah. So it's dated technology, in my opinion. Like, satellite dishes and standard cable television is just dated technology. And it's become to the point where they charge so much for it. And there's so many things that are available for free, like, 6 to 10 years ago, cutting the cord. But the sports thing is way behind you. They have not figured that shit out.
Well, the NFL has. I mean, you have the NFL Sunday Ticket on DirecTV, or not DirecTV, but on YouTube TV now. That was a big selling point for me to make the switch to YouTube TV.
Yeah.
They have the Super Bowl is going to be in 4K on YouTube TV, which is not on DirecTV. So it's like, all right, so it's a lot of incentive for me to make the switch, and just
Isn't it going to be on 4K on Paramount?
I think so.
On Paramount Plus, right?
I think so, yeah. But still, like, I get all the channels I want on YouTube TV for a fraction of the price. Like, I'll put money in my pocket.
What did you say you were paying for YouTube TV and HBO Max?
Like $85.
And you get the 4K package, right?
I don't right now. I'm going to. That's an extra $5, so it'd be like $90.
And I think with the 4K package, if I'm not mistaken, so you get you get 3 licenses, which means that you could have a license, you could give your buddy a license and another buddy a license. If you add the $5, you get to watch it on unlimited TVs within that Wi-Fi network. So that's at least how it was when I was on there. So you pay the extra $5 or $10, whatever it is, and then you have those 3 licenses, but you're not using them if you're within your Wi-Fi network.
So I believe I can have up to 6 different accounts, but I can only have 3 TVs streaming at the same time.
Yeah, so I think with the 4K thing, it increases that. If
I haven't looked into it that much, but
that's at least how it was when it was unlimited streaming within your Wi-Fi network with that 4K package. So we upped to the 4K package because the 4K aspect, because there's not a lot of content in 4K, never sold me that much. It sounds like the Super Bowl is going to be streamed in 4K, which is nice. But for a while, it was just like nature videos for years. That's all it was. And it's like, why am I paying extra for?
Well, even like broadcast TV, even if you get a 4K package on DirecTV, it's like bullshit stuff. It's not like you can watch CSI Miami in 4K or it's still 1080p. So it's crazy how we have 4K and 8K TVs, but the technology hasn't even caught up to that, to broadcasting that yet.
Yeah. And the other thing was with satellite, like, yeah, they had 4K, or with cable broadband, they had 4K. But a lot of the time, those coaxial cables and the signal coming in, like I noticed when I had 4K, it would buffer a lot. It's different than Netflix, where it's like downloading before you, because it's not live, of course.
Yeah.
It's downloading it before you see it. So you're not getting that buffer issue. But if it's live television, dude, it buffered all the time.
That's disappointing for me, who's so looking forward to WWE being on Netflix starting in 2025.
What you may see is that they may have, it's my understanding that it's better, and it may be that you have a 5 to 10 second delay on the 4K thing so that they can overcome that buffering issue. So I would try it just to see how it is. But isn't WWE, isn't it streamed on a streaming network now?
They have their catalog and premium live events on Peacock.
That's what I thought.
But they still have Raw on USA, SmackDown on Fox, and NXT on USA. But come later this year, SmackDown's going to USA, NXT is going to the CW, and then starting in 2025, Raw, Monday Night Raw, will be exclusive to Netflix.
To Netflix?
Yep. So they will be streaming Raw every week on Netflix.
That's interesting to me too. Like, you see it a lot more now. Like, so they're kind of diversifying their assets, right? A little bit on Netflix, a little bit on Peacock, a little bit on USA Network, a little bit on CW, whatever it may be. I've noticed that with other like franchises too. So like the Godzilla franchises came out, right? They've got the Monarch Legacy show on Apple TV. They've got the Godzilla movies that are all supposed to tie into each other on HBO Max. So it's like on all these different networks, which part of me thinks, oh, that's smart, because now there's all these different networks that are getting a little bit a bite of the apple, making themselves enticing to consumers, right? But on the other aspect, it's like, well, what if something like, what if Apple TV is not in other countries? Like, they just don't watch it?
Well, that's why other countries stream on other things. Like a lot of HBO Max stuff streams on Netflix in other countries, or things like that. Like they're international. Like, so like this new WWE deal, Netflix will carry everything from if you're outside the North America.
International.
Yes. And then America still has Peacock until I think their deal goes through 2026 or something like that. And I'm sure everything will make the transition to Netflix after that. But right now, $5 billion for Monday Night Raw, not a bad gig.
You think that's worth it? $5 billion?
Oh yeah, dude, WWE is, after the sale to TKO, and now that I know that Vince McMahon shit is out of control right now. but WWE is hotter than ever right now. It's always a hot property. So
because it was on a decline for a couple of years recently.
Yes, it was, and then a lot of things have changed, and a lot of the products creative has changed. So it's like, dude, it's dominated. I went from where I would just DVR it and skim through everything to everything that's gone on the last 2 weeks has dominated like my media viewing. I'm watching the programs from start to finish again. I'm watching updates online. Like there's just so much stuff on WWE going on. Like it really makes me want to start a WWE show on this channel, but I'm like, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm like, when am I going to find the time to do this? My wife already gets mad that I do 3 shows now as it is.
3 shows?
Yeah.
I know of 2. What's the third one?
So I'm doing I'm part of a Hot 10 list on Renovision on Friday nights. We record Thursdays. Then this show, and then the Saturday night special.
Oh, the Hot 10 show, that's for comic books?
Yeah.
Is that a spec show?
Not really. It's just going over the hottest books that have been selling this week.
Which is something that we were doing at the end of this show.
Yeah, for a while.
But I always thought it would make a good singular show. Like,
yeah, and that's what they do over there. It's just a singular show.
But well, that's good. I mean, I'm not a WWE fan, but I appreciate it, and I constantly find clips online. Like, is there a clip going around? Like, The Rock was yelling at Triple H.
Yeah,
somebody talking shit. Is that real?
Yes, it is. It happened yesterday at a press conference.
But he's actually pissed, or is it an act?
So it's part of a storyline. The Rock now, Vince McMahon has a bunch of sex trafficking allegations coming out against him.
Yeah.
Now, and a lot of crazy, just despicable shit. So, he got replaced on the board of directors for TKO by The Rock. So The Rock is now a member of the board of TKO over WWE. And he was brought back in for we had just had the WrestleMania or Royal Rumble, so we're on the road to WrestleMania, or heading to WrestleMania season. So The Rock was supposed to be, Cody Rhodes, who's a huge face in the company and fan favorite, won the Royal Rumble, and doing so gives him his shot or choice of who he wants to face at WrestleMania, be it Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship or Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And what was going on is The Rock kind of came back and said, well, since him and Roman Reigns are cousins in real life, he wants to face Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania to make WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Well, the fans that have been following Cody through this whole, because he won the Royal Rumble last year, lost at WrestleMania. Then he's got this whole thing where he's chasing this title that his dad, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, held and then got taken away from him. He's chasing that title to finish his story, to hold the title that his dad never held. And so Cody won the Royal Rumble again this year, 2 years in a row, wants to face Roman, but The Rock wanted to face Roman. So they were changing. So up until this point, the story was Roman Cody at WrestleMania. Well, then The Rock came back out of nowhere, and then it was like, oh, well, now it's going to be Rock Roman at WrestleMania, and Cody's going to just fight Seth for like the secondary title. And then the fans got pissed. Like, it was a huge outcry from WWE wrestlers, from fans, everything the last week that started this hashtag We Want Cody thing. And like, no matter what The Rock posted on social media, it was just destroyed with hashtag We Want Cody posts. So they pivoted yesterday at a press conference to make it where The Rock, when The Rock was coming out, he made it look like he wanted to feud with Roman Reigns. He had an issue with Roman Reigns. Well, they pivoted yesterday, and now it looks like The Rock has turned heel, and him and Roman Reigns are on the same side against Cody. So at the press conference yesterday, Roman was talking about their bloodline and The Rock was talking about their bloodline and their family and his grandfather, and Roman insulted Cody's dad. So Cody insulted Roman and Rock's grandfathers. So then The Rock got pissed and slapped Cody, and then it started this whole like big scrum at this press conference. And so Triple H was doing an interview in the back, and The Rock walked past and was like, "You need to fucking fix this." and he disrespected my family. If that happens again, I'm gonna smack his fucking teeth out of his mouth. Because Triple H is the CEO, the chief officer of creative or something like that. So he's like head of creative now. So it's within the storyline, but it's definitely dominated the mainstream media the last week and a half with all of this.
So is it real or fake?
It's fake. It's wrestling.
It's all
scripted.
fake.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that whole exchange in the back looked really real.
No, they're just blurring the
Triple
lines,
H.
man. It's him and his character, like his heel character. So it's just really blurring the lines.
I have a hard time with that because, like, The Rock seems like a genuinely nice dude. Like in most of his interactions. I mean, what did he do with Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast is like, hey, if you do this, I'll donate $1 million to charity of your choice. And he's like, okay, well, I'll double it. Like he just does shit like that, like often. And then you see him on the show getting all hyphy, which is a term that we used when I was a kid, boys and girls. I don't know if that's still a term. Is that still a term? Hyphy?
No.
So, it's just completely contrary to the person that I think he is. So when I saw that, it looked believable. Any other time I see him being a dick, I'm like, oh, that's not believable. He's not a dick.
No, you got to separate the character of The Rock versus the person of Dwayne Johnson. I understand that like it's easy to mix because he goes by Dwayne The Rock Johnson, or everyone refers to him as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But you got to separate. Like The Rock is that WWE aspect where he could be face or heel, good guy or bad guy at any time. And then you have Dwayne Johnson, which is who he is in his everyday life. So,
well, Dwayne Johnson seems like a good dude. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, for sure.
I mean, he does a bunch of kids movies. He always seems to be. He kind of reminds me of like RDJ or Chris Evans. They just seem like good dudes in real life.
I mean, I want to say he makes missteps sometimes. Like he's genuinely a good dude, but like when him and Oprah came up with like that People's Fund of Hawaii or whatever after the fires and like begging people for money, and you're like, you're billionaires or millionaires asking people, like middle class people that are struggling to pay for groceries to feed their own family for money for this. And you know, it
is really tone deaf. Alyssa Milano.
Sometimes he's very tone deaf. That's my biggest thing with The Rock is like a lot of times he is.
I think when you have that much money,
it's easy to become tone deaf.
Yeah, for the most part, most of these people seem tone deaf. I mean, that's my
have
whole
a whole
argument with
problems that aren't first world problem, or that aren't like the same as you're not worrying about how am I paying my bills today or how am I putting food on the table. You know, you have a whole different set of problems. I'm sure. Not saying that being rich is easy, but it definitely makes life a lot more fun.
Yeah, I don't. What's that Daniel Tosh joke? I've never seen anybody frown on a jet ski.
Right.
It's a great joke. But no, it's kind of like I hear, and I'm not trying to get into a political thing. I try to remain on, you don't know what side of the aisle I'm on, right? But you hear all these rich people saying, oh, the economy is great. Well, have you been in a grocery store lately?
Yeah.
Because charging me $5 for one apple does not seem like it's that great.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of tone deaf stuff. Alyssa Milano was in the news because she was asking for money for her nephew or something like that. And you're like, bitch, you were on Charles in Charge. You were, or Who's the Boss? Which one was she on?
Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss? You were on Charmed. You were on all these things. You've been a notable actress for decades. And you're asking for money from people that are worried about how they're going to put gas in there. It just seems really tone deaf to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But, and she got blasted online. I don't know if you've seen any of that. Absolutely blasted.
Yeah.
So be careful who you're asking money. you know. And I don't know her situation. I choose to stay out of those conversations. I don't know her situation. Maybe she's flat broke from dumb decisions she's made. I don't know. But you always got to remember, perception is 9/10 of the law.
Yeah. But moving on from complaining about that kind of stuff, we had a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff going on while we were gone. We recently had the Paramount reveal of our first look at Knuckles, the series spinning out of the Sonic the Hedgehog universe.
I'm so fucking excited. Are you excited? I watched the trailer. I watched it this morning.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm glad that all the original voice actors from the movies are back.
Mm-hmm. Didn't see any Jason Marsden though.
No, you did not see him, but you saw the actress that plays his wife and his deputy, and it's James Marsden.
What did I say?
Jason.
Who's Jason Marsden? I feel like that's a person.
Yeah, you don't see James Marsden, but you do see Tails, you see Sonic, you see no Jim Carrey, Dr. Robotnik. But sticking with that, we got the reveal that he is returning. Jim Carrey is returning for Sonic 3.
Jason Marsden is an actor. He voiced Max in a Goofy movie. He's from Step by Step. I knew that I wasn't. Okay. I knew that I wasn't fucking making that shit up.
Yeah, he played the little nerdy guy in Full House that DJ was dating too.
Yeah. All right.
I can't think of
Continue. I'm sorry. That was gonna drive me.
But yeah, we got the Jim Carrey's coming back to reprise his role as Dr. Robotnik Eggman Robotnik
in Sonic 3.
Sonic and Shadow, or Sonic 3, whatever you want to call it.
Which is good in my opinion, because he often said after Sonic 2 he was going to retire.
Yeah.
And that was a big question of how are they going to continue this story without, I mean, they don't kill Dr. Robotnik at the end of the second one. Mm-hmm. So how does that work? So I'm happy about it.
We have had we got our first look at Tails from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I'm not a fan of the art style on it. I'm glad to see that they got the voice actors back from the movies and all that, but I'm not a big fan of the art style on it.
Yeah, can I just say something? Because that's what I was going to bring up when you brought up the Knuckles show. The animation or the art style is the same. There's going to be a seamless transition from the 2 Sonic movies to the Knuckles TV show, it seems like. Mm-hmm. This is supposed to fall in the vein of Mutant Mayhem, but they changed the art style. And I don't think I'm a fan of it. The fact that they changed it. I wish they would have kept it, cohesive through the whole thing. But
I'm sure that's going to get expensive. I'm sure 2D animation is probably a lot less expensive than CGI.
I don't know if that's true.
Generation of everything.
I don't know if that's true, because 2D animation, first of all, a lot of it's done with computers now, right? The other thing is 2D animation, they had to create a whole new template for the 2D animation, right? The 3D animation, once you have the model, so they have the models created for the TV show. Once you have the model and you put it into your, whatever they use, I'm sure it's not Unreal Engine, but it's something like that, right? Some sort of Dreamweaver or something like that. Once you have the model of the character and you have all his joints and everything worked out, it should be easy just to transpose that into new scenes, right?
Yeah, at that point, I'm sure it is.
Like the first Toy Story took much longer than probably the second Toy Story, because they had half of it already made. They just had to make the extra supporting character.
But you don't have as much detail in the 2D animated movie or animated show as you do in the movies. Like you look at it, there's not as much detail. It's very dumbed down. Very much looks like a high schooler did it. Like,
yeah, and that's my issue with that art style. I completely agree with you. But if and maybe somebody in the comments can help me understand it, but with 2D animation, if it's hand drawn, like the old Walt Disney, we've all seen behind the scenes of like Snow White and stuff, every frame is drawn.
Mm-hmm.
But with 3D animation, it's a model that you are telling, like, move your arm here, and it'll move its arm there, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it
I don't know
works?
how the inner workings of it go because I'm not in that business. But I just think that it seems like 3D animation takes a lot longer than 2D animation. But essentially, like the first time around, but then like you look at like I don't know, Bluey, for instance, and once 2D, I think once they have that character model done, like you were saying, they could just transpose it from scene to scene and move it in programs and things like that to where it might be a little bit more. I think with I don't know. I don't know how they I don't know how they do it with 3D animation. So I just think there's a lot more detail that goes into the 3D animation. Like if you look at the movie Mutant Mayhem and the trailer we got for this first sneak peek trailer we got for Tales from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the art style is just atrocious.
But I mean, we had a whole Nickelodeon show that was computer Ninja Turtles, and we've seen computer television shows before. I mean, I can't think of any right off the top of my head. Well, I mean, Sonic is half, 3D. And Bluey, I don't know if you saw that episode where at the end of the episode it shows them creating a scene. Have you seen that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's all computer too. Like they just dragged and dropped like mouths in and like different
that's because they have it all, the character models and all that already drawn up.
But they had to create all new character models for Ninja Turtles, right? Because we haven't seen anything. They had a whole movie with the character models already built. I'm a big proponent of keeping tone and keeping art style when it comes across movies. That was our big argument with the DCU for many years. You remember? Mm-hmm. Is you have Batman, which is super dark and gritty, and then you throw in Shazam, which is bright and borderline a Marvel movie. Then you have Wonder Woman that has a completely different tone. And then when you got to Justice League, it made the whole thing feel really disjointed, right? Because you were throwing all these different characters in that don't share any sort of tone or depth, across franchises, and you're throwing them into an event where they all have to match a singular tone, which is different from the Avengers movies. The Marvel movies, like you watch Iron Man and then you go to Captain America, it's not jarring, right?
Yeah.
One to the other. And I feel that's why it works, is that 23, how many movies they have now? 26 movies or something ridiculous. Maybe over 30. I have no idea. But every movie feels like a continuation of the last movie. There's no the only outlier is Werewolf by Night, but they did that to be artsy and different, right?
Yeah. But that's a good segue, because we also had the Disney earnings call a couple days ago. And
I'm wearing my shirt. You see?
Bob Iger, we got the announcement that Moana 2 is coming this year, November this year. My wife and child were super excited for that.
Can I tell you, without you thinking less of me, I'm excited about that. I love Moana. You're trying to find the words to say.
No. Why do I care? So consequently, though, that is going to push Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's live Moana from 2024 to 2025. I believe it's pushing it back a year. But we also had the definitive MCU timeline released.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
So now, the definitive timeline in watching order goes Captain America, the first Avenger, Agent Carter, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, the Edward Norton Hulk. Then you got the Thor's Hammer short. Then you get Thor. Then you have Avengers. Then you have the Agent 47 short. You have Thor: The Dark World. Then Iron Man 3. Then All Hail the King. That's that short with the
the Mandarin.
Mandarin, yep. Then you have Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then you have I Am Groot Season 1 and 2. Then they've added the Netflix shows. You have Daredevil Season 1, Jessica Jones Season 1, Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Daredevil Season 2, Luke Cage Season 1, Iron Fist Season 1, The Defenders, Civil War, Black Widow.
That's
after Civil War.
To me. They're acknowledging the Defenders?
They are. So then they have Black Widow after Civil War, followed by Black Panther, then Spider-Man Homecoming, Punisher Season 1, Doctor Strange number 1, Jessica Jones Season 2, Luke Cage Season 2, Iron Fist Season 2, Daredevil Season 3, Thor Ragnarok, Punisher Season 2, Jessica Jones Season 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Loki Season 1, What If Season 1, WandaVision. So it's interesting that Loki Season 1 and What If go before WandaVision. Then you have Shang-Chi, then Captain America, then Falcon Winter Soldier. Then you have Spider-Man, Far From Home, Eternals, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, then Hawkeye, then Moon Knight, then Wakanda Forever, Echo. It's interesting that Echo goes after Wakanda Forever, but before She-Hulk. Then you have Miss Marvel, then Thor Love and Thunder, then Werewolf by Night, then the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, then Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, then Guardians 3, then Secret Invasion, then the Marvels, then Loki Season 2. So Loki Season 2 takes place after the Marvels in the timeline. And then What If Season 2.
Where was No Way Home?
No Way Home is right after Black Panther.
So did they
before Punisher Season 1?
Was No Way Home before or after Doctor Strange?
No Way Home is before Doctor Strange.
Multiverse.
No, before the first Doctor Strange.
No Way Home is before the first Doctor Strange?
No Way Home takes place before the first Doctor Strange. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Homecoming. My bad. I'm thinking Homecoming. No Way Home. That's an interesting list because No Way Home's not on this list.
What?
No Way Home would take place right after Endgame. No. No Way Home. Yeah, No Way Home's not on this list.
Does that strike you as odd?
That No Way Home is not on there? Yes, it would. Yes, it does.
Their biggest movie since Endgame?
Right? That's interesting that it's not on this list.
Because I was going to ask you, because I was trying to hear where you said No Way Home, and I didn't catch it, obviously. Now we know why. And I was trying to hear if they retroactively said, okay, it happened after Multiverse. Because originally, Multiverse of Madness was supposed to happen before No Way Home. Sony got their panties in a bunch and had them release it for a Christmas movie. Right? And then they had to do reshoots for Doctor Strange, right? They added that scene where he's talking about Spider-Man or whatever. But Multiverse of Madness was supposed to lead into No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home is... That's interesting. No Way Home is not on this list.
And this came directly from Disney.
This is the new MCU Disney Plus timeline. Yep. Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home.
That sounds like...
Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home is not on this list. So I wonder if there's a reason for that.
That sounds like it deserves a Twitter.
But I think, just given it what happens in it, I'm going to say it takes place after Eternals, but I would put it right between Eternals and Doctor Strange. It's clear that break it down. It's clear that it takes place before Hawkeye, because Hawkeye takes place at Christmas, which is the same time that of No Way Home ends. Did you get that scene of Peter in his new suit swinging through
and it's Christmas time,
Rockefeller Center, and it's Christmas time, and they got the big Christmas tree. So it's obviously its place in that timeline is going to be right after Eternals, but before Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Hawkeye.
So are you reading this from Digital Spy?
No.
Okay, so digitalspy.com, I don't know this website, has No Way Home listed on it right after Hawkeye, before Moon Knight, as number 66.
So that's not right then. Because it's going to be before Hawkeye. Because if Multiverse of Madness is before Hawkeye, Spider-Man takes place before Multiverse of Madness because it's referenced the events of Spider-Man Far From Home. Or sorry, No Way Home. God damn it, too many homes.
I think this is an old list.
The events of Spider-Man No Way Home are talked about by Doctor Strange at the beginning of Multiverse of Madness,
which was added retroactive, or is it retroactively? Is that the right word?
Yeah. So ipso facto, it takes place before Hawkeye, before
new MCU timelines arrive on Disney Plus. So I'm on the actual Marvel site. So let's go. Yeah, so I'm on the Marvel site, and it says Spider-Man Far From Home, Eternals, Multiverse of Madness, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Black Panther.
There's no Way Home on there.
Spider-Man.
I would just wonder if that's a mix-up or what.
See, it seems weird that they would forget their billion-dollar movie.
Right. But not only did we get that, we got word from Disney boss, old Billy Bob Iger, that Marvel Studios will be shifting focus to stronger franchises. And he was very vague about this. He just said in his remarks that he said, commenting on the future of Disney, Bob Iger's statement mostly focused on things that would handle for upcoming Disney and Pixar features. Briefly talking about the future of Marvel Cinematic Universe, he stated, the Marvel Studios is starting to focus on some of its stronger franchises going forward, but I'll leave it at that. This is a confirmation that the overwhelming majority of the upcoming projects from Disney and Pixar will be sequels to fan favorites, with Iger's words suggesting a similar fate for Marvel. So does that mean we're about to get a shakeup of the timeline that was released? Does that mean maybe we're not getting an Ironheart? Does that mean maybe we're not getting a lot of these movies that were promised to us? Like, are we still getting a Blade? Are we still, which I'm sure we are, because I think that's been talked about for a while, but maybe we're not going to see a lot of these more obscure characters, and maybe we're going to start seeing less Disney Plus shows covering these lesser known heroes, and maybe we're going to see a Deadpool 4, and we're going to see Cap 4 and Thunderbolts and another Avengers. I mean, those are your heavy hitter another Spider-Man, more heavy hitting projects. Like, we are, Bob, I just find his comments very interesting to say we're going to shift focus to stronger franchises. So does that mean no more Ant-Man and Wasp?
Well, Ant-Man, I feel like it has Paul Rudd. That is a strong franchise. It's just Quantumania was not that great.
I would say that pretty much, writes off getting a sequel to Eternals, right? Pretty much guarantee we're never going to see a sequel to Eternals now.
Yeah, which is crazy to me, because there's so many open ends, and they were focusing so much on the what was the Eternals? Was it the cosmic line?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're just going to leave those. Like, I want explanation. I mean, they were going to introduce Harry Styles in the next Eternals, which is the biggest name in pop music, not named Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah.
So So I'm tweeting Kevin Feige. He's not called tweeting. What do they call it? Xing?
You're Xing.
Any reason why No Way Home is not included in the official MCU timeline? Hashtag looking for a comment.
Let me know if he responds to you.
I've gotten responses from some of these people before, like, but not as big as Kevin Feige, I think. But I've gotten responses from like Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith and stuff.
They don't have fucking Kevin Feige-esque business going on, my man.
I know. Well, I just said I don't know if I can't recall if I've ever gotten anything big. I have gotten responses from like Green Day. I've gotten responses from Mark Hoppus.
You got responses from their publicists.
Well, probably. You're probably correct. But Jason Mewes doesn't have a publicist, does he?
I'm sure he does, but I know he handles all of his own social media. So
he was super nice too, Jason Mewes. Did I tell you what had happened?
Yeah.
We went to that movie and we were supposed to get that free poster and they didn't give us the free poster. So I tweeted Jason Mewes. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like, please let me know if you're unable to get it, you know, and they gave it to me once we asked him about it. But he was so sweet about it. I felt bad for tweeting him in the first place.
Yeah, he's probably like, you fucking chump. I got nothing to do with this. But I mean, looking at this, we're already deep into phase 5 because phase 5 was Quantum Mania, Secret Invasion, Guardians 3, Echo, Loki Season 2, Marvels. So the remainder of phase 5 is Blade, Ironheart, which we have not heard anything about that, Agatha, which I'll be okay if that goes away, Daredevil Born Again, Captain America, New World Order, and then Thunderbolts. And then, of course, phase 6, we've got Fantastic Four, Avengers, Kang Dynasty, or whatever they're going to call that now, and then Secret Wars.
I think they should just recast Kang. Well, it's not that hard.
It sounds like that's what they're going to do.
Kang takes on a bunch of different, in the comics at least, he takes on a bunch of different embodiments, doesn't he? Like, he never looks the same.
Correct.
So why don't they just cast 5 or 6 actors to play him as a you know, group? I think it'd be really easy to convince 5 or 6 big name actors like, hey, you want to be part of this franchise, but are you unable to, you know, commit to 5, 6, 7 movies? Like, how about you play the same character as 6 other people and we have you play 1 or 2 movies, you know?
Because I think you're getting into a lot of like contract negotiations and different contracting and all kinds of stuff like that.
I think the contracts would be easier. Like, could you imagine Kang being played as a consensus? Like, say you get Matthew McConaughey as one version of Kang, and then you get like Denzel as another version of Kang, and then you get fucking I don't know who's another big actor. You could even go as far as to get like, well, there's never any female versions of Kang, has there been in the comics?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if there is, but you could get some. You could have a whole diverse cast just playing one character.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cool, man. And then have one scene where all 6 of them or all 7 of them are in one scene together, playing the same character. I think that'd be cool, man.
Again, I think that's a lot of contracts to work out, a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, but I think that it'd be much easier to get a big name actor to do that because they're not committing to 10 plus movies. They're committing to 2 or 3.
But the issue is, do you want the big name actors still, or do you want to shift focus back to what made Marvel the Marvel formula, the no-name actor?
Well, I think in this situation, because there is so much controversy surrounding Jonathan Majors and everything that happened with him, I think this is the unique situation where they need a big name actor to subsequently take the focus off of why Jonathan Majors is no longer playing the character. I think if you go the route of, you know, James Gunn hiring Corn Sweat or whatever his name is as Superman.
Corn
That
Sweat.
I think that's his name, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But then you got Millie Alcock as a Supergirl, so she's got a pretty big name for herself in the Game of Thrones community.
I had no idea who she was before before I read her casting, and I was actually rooting for Meg Donnelly because I actually know who Meg Donnelly is.
Looks like you just need to brush up on your pop culture there, Lance.
I never watched Game of Thrones. I have no interest.
Oh, you gotta watch House of the Dragon. It's so good.
It's not my genre. The dragons and fucking medieval shit. It's not.
So badassery is not your genre. Got it.
Just not into it, man. Not into it. Plus, whoever that dude is that wrote those books is a fucking piece of shit. Anyways, what's his name? George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, Georgie R.R. Marty.
But
Martini.
But yeah, I find it interesting that No Way Home is not on this list. That's what we were getting at, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the definitive timeline is not addressing anything that has yet to come out.
Well, you can't, of course, because it hasn't come out yet. Because they don't want to give away what's in the works, like Deadpool 3, and which when you watch this back, it's already happened, but we're heading into the Super Bowl, and rumor has it we're going to get our first trailer for Deadpool 3 during the big game.
I'm gonna fucking
cream your shorts.
Cream my shorts. That's the terminology I was looking for. I think that's the perfect terminology for Deadpool 3. What's cool is, isn't that the only Marvel thing we're getting this year?
Yes, it is.
The only thing. That's going to be a change of pace. And I think that that's smart too, because I think Deadpool 3 has the potential to kind of be the savior of the MCU. Now let me know if this is a hot take on my part. Because I think Deadpool 3 has a couple things going for it. First of all, the character is beloved, right, by many. The first two movies are pretty universally, I mean, the second one less than the first, but for the most part, people love those movies. Has Ryan Reynolds. Never heard a bad thing said about Ryan Reynolds, right? It has Hugh Jackman returning in the Wolverine role. So you have that right there. And that's kind of what Spider-Man No Way Home had going for it, right? The potential of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield returning to the Spider-Man mask, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Hugh Jackman. You have Ryan Reynolds, who there's been reports recently that he is fighting tooth and nail with Disney to make sure that the Deadpool 3 script stays the way he wants it to stay. So they were trying to pigeonhole Tatiana, whatever her name is, that plays She-Hulk, into the script, and he said, no, fuck that. And apparently there's some discourse there that she is pissed because now she's been removed from the Deadpool 3 storyline. And he fought Disney to keep her out of the movie. So I feel like Deadpool 3 has the potential to be a largely untouched work of art, if you want to call it that, right? So I feel like it's going to be good enough. So it's going to get people's taste for what the MCU has the potential to be. And then you're going to have a long break of no Marvel to sour people's perception of what the franchise is. And then you're also going to give people enough anticipation. You know, it's going to be so long before the next thing comes out that I feel like it could be the point where Marvel kind of resurrects itself to overcome maybe that superhero fatigue, because we're not going to get a lot of DC stuff between anything this year, really, because James Gunn is still formulating his own plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this year could be, hey, let's hold off and see if we can quell this superhero fatigue a little bit. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of that, and it's more, I think, to do with the strategy Bob Iger's talking about. Is Marvel's taking a hit. Marvel is not the juggernaut it once was,
right?
And they are their last what, fucking 2 movies, 3 movies have been flops? What? No, 4 movies? Thor, Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, The Marvels, and Ant-Man Quantumania. So, yeah, 4 movies?
Which in hindsight, once we saw Thor, Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange is not as bad.
It's still not a great movie.
No, it's not great, but it's also not bottom of the barrel. Nor is Ant-Man Quantumania. I mean, Ant-Man Quantumania is not that great, but it's not bottom of the barrel. I mean, it's in Quantumania, if I'm not mistaken, still made decent money, if I'm not mistaken. And so did Love and Thunder for that regard. It wasn't billion-dollar franchises like No Way Home and Endgame and things like that.
Yeah.
I honestly think you're going to see Robert Downey Jr. return.
I don't think he will, just because if you do, it's going to be a variant of him.
It has to be. It can't be the same one. I mean, they're not going to undo everything they did. So it's going to be a variant, but I think that the name Robert Downey Jr. just being attached to a Marvel property is going to be enough to get people excited. The one that I think there's no chance in hell that he returns is Chris Evans. I think Chris Evans is done. I think he wants to close that chapter in his life, but he's still young to the point where he wants to go do other things. I think Robert Downey Jr. is eventually going to get to the point where he's going to lose cultural relevance, and Marvel kind of props up that cultural relevance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I question that because it's how much longer is RDJ looking to go? How much longer does he want to continue acting? Like, I just think there's a lot of like variables there.
Well, if he wins the Oscar this year, he's going to want to continue acting. Because isn't he nominated for Oppenheimer?
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to.
I mean, the Oscar's been that thing that's eluded him for decades. And I feel like he was nominated once or maybe twice, but it's never won. And
wasn't he nominated for the Charlie Chaplin movie he did?
Let's see.
I can't remember. Like, it's been so long. Movies this year with everything getting pushed and all this other crap with the writers and actors strikes. Like, I've not followed what's even nominated because I don't feel like there was very many great movies out there, which me and my wife saw Wonka last weekend. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
You liked it?
I did.
I loved it.
Even though I'm not a big musical guy, like I could have done with a little less singing. Like I didn't think they needed to have singing like every other scene, but I liked it.
Well, it's more of a musical than the Gene Wilder movie, but the Gene Wilder movie is still a musical.
Yes, it is, but they don't sing like every other fucking scene.
No, it's you're right, but they sing a lot. I mean, the Oompa Loompas sing every time somebody dies or whatever happens to them.
Yeah, every time.
So there is a lot of singing. This one has more, but it's not. If you look at the amount of singing in this movie, it's not a big, it's not a big contrast to that original movie. And this is supposed to be the prequel.
Yeah.
To that original. So Robert Downey Jr. was nominated twice. 1993 for Best Actor so he lost 1993 Oscar for Best Actor to Al Pacino for Scent of a Woman. He would earn his second Oscar nomination in 2009 for the comedy Tropic Thunder. But the award was given to Heath Ledger posthumously. And now he is nominated for Oppenheimer. Did you hear the news about the Oscars? That they added a new role that's going to go, or a new award that's going to be, I guess in 2026 they're gonna have this new award that's best casting. So like this would open it up to maybe some blockbuster movies like Robert Downey Jr. getting cast as Iron Man. Maybe not a Best Actor nomination, but it would be best casting. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Which I can agree with that.
Well, the Oscars are starting to go down that rabbit hole of acknowledging tentpole films. And that's been my whole argument with Barbie, right? A lot of people are upset, and I'm not going to get into the feminist stuff, because I don't have really a dog in that argument. But a lot of people are upset that Margot Robbie was not nominated for Best Actress.
I'm not, because I don't feel like Barbie was a movie worthy of it. Like Barbie, there was nothing groundbreaking about Barbie at all.
I enjoyed Barbie, but I agree with you. I don't think, and Greta Gerwig did not win or did not get nominated for Best Director. A lot of people are upset. America Ferrera and Ryan Gosling were nominated for Best Supporting in their respective nominations for that movie, and that's fine. But notoriously, when it comes to Best Actor, Best Director, those tentpole franchise films have not fared well as far as getting the nominations, or even if they get a nomination, of winning a nomination, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. I think it's been nominated for Best Picture, if I'm not mistaken, right?
What, Barbie?
Barbie.
I don't think it was.
Look it Oscar up, Best Picture nominations. The Holdovers, which is great. American Fiction.
I still have to watch The Holdovers.
Oh, Barbie. Yeah, Barbie's a nominee. Holdovers is fantastic. And in fact, I haven't seen all of these. Let me see. It's on my big monitor that's all the way over here, so I'm having a hard time reading it. Let me see. Does it say? Gosh dang it. Wikipedia sometimes sucks. All right, so Best Picture nominations: American Fiction, I haven't seen it yet. Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. So really, I've only seen 1, 2, 3. I've only seen 3 of these movies. But when it comes to those 3 movies, Oppenheimer and The Holdovers are better movies than Barbie.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. I'm waiting for that one to come out on Paramount or it's Peacock, long. Whichever one.
Be prepared. It's long. It's on my Plex account if you want to watch it.
I'm waiting for The Holdovers is on Peacock. I need to watch that. Aaron and I have talked about watching that and just haven't done it yet.
It feels, I'm not sure if A24 did it, but it feels very A24. Very dialogue driven, very situational driven. But Paul Giamatti is fantastic in it. But Anna and I watched it on a whim, not knowing anything about it. We just couldn't find anything to watch. We turned it on. She fell asleep because she always does that when we watch a movie late at night. But I stayed up watching the whole thing, and it was phenomenal. Great story. But Barbie is the only one on this list that is a tentpole movie, and more than likely it's not going to win.
It's not going to win Best Picture. I don't think it should, because I don't think it did nothing to. It was a fun story, but what did it really do to push the genre? Like you made everything pink.
Like, I liked it. And I think maybe it wasn't your cup of tea, but I walked out feeling impressed. I walked out feeling like, oh, wow, they did a really good job. They took something as nonsensical and as mundane as a Barbie doll and made a pretty good movie revolving around it. And they did it in a sense that it had political agendas attached to it, but it also didn't lean too heavily. Like it presented arguments for both sides of political aisles. So I feel like it can appeal to people no matter what side of the aisle they're on. There wasn't anything overtly sexual about it, so it was a good movie for preteens and stuff. Like a lot of these Disney kid movies have been way more sexual than Barbie has been, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just a good time. It was a good time to relax, be at the movie theater with my daughter, and the both of us enjoy something. And she took stuff out of it differently than the stuff I took out of it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a crowning achievement, but I enjoyed it. I've watched it again with my little girls because my little girls were begging me to see Barbie. Obviously, they don't understand what the hell's going on in that movie because it's not meant for little girls. The subject matter is just above their head. But there was enough for them to be like, oh, there's a live action talking Barbie on the screen, and that was enough for them to remain entertained. But I like that they took something as mundane as a doll and actually put some warmth behind it. But on the same note, do I think it's deserving of Best Picture? No. Now, I think the two people that did by far the best in that movie were nominated, America Ferrera and Ryan Gosling. There's one other person that I feel like was even
Michael
better
Cera.
than. Yeah, so there's two people. Actually, I had this conversation with Max today. There's 4 people in this movie that I think shine above everybody else. Ryan Gosling, America Ferrera, Michael Cera, and Kate McKinnon. Not one of those people is Margot Robbie. And it's not that she did a bad job. She did a great job. But when you watch Oppenheimer and you see Cillian Murphy do what he did, that is a crowning achievement in acting. Or just from the trailers that I've seen of Poor Things of Emma Stone. That, to me, seems like a crowning achievement.
I have no interest in seeing that movie because Emma Stone looks so busted and gross in the movie.
I think that's the point, isn't it?
I don't know. This is, I know that's superficial of me, but because I'm like, I'm no prize myself. Like, I'm just saying, it just like, it's very off-putting.
Honestly, I think the movie that's going to win, it comes between. I think the movie that's going to win is American Fiction. Just the amount that I've heard about that movie, like Killers of the Flower Moon, does not have the same amount of buzz surrounding it, nor does Oppenheimer.
It was a movie that was like, it went straight to Apple too, didn't it?
American Fiction.
Well, no, Killers of the Flower Moon.
No,
because that was on like Apple TV real quick.
They were no, it just hit Apple TV like 2 weeks ago.
No way.
For a while, it was
longer.
No, it looked like it was, but if you went in there, it would tell you what theaters was playing it. So it's been on my watch list for months. But if you clicked in there, it would say get your tickets now. Okay. So you couldn't watch it. That's why I didn't watch it, because it wasn't available, and it might have been longer than 2 weeks. It might have been a month or something, but it was in the theaters. I think it came out in November, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
No, October. So it came out in October. And in fact, Max was telling me today he finally got a chance to watch it because it hadn't been available on streaming, but now it's on Apple TV. So, but from what I've heard, I think that the girl from Flowers of the Killer Moon is going to win supporting actress, because this has been my whole argument with or not supporting actress, best actress. This has been my whole argument with the Margot Robbie thing. Okay. They're saying that it's sexist that she's not in there. And I'm not going to tell you my opinion or anything about that. They're saying that it's sexist that she's not there. And maybe somebody can explain it to me. That's fine. I'm always willing to listen and to hear people's views. It's sexist that she's not in there. Well, the nomination field is for best actress. So there's 5, 6, however many women are in there. It's all women. So she didn't get bumped for a man to be in this. And there's one woman in there specifically, the woman from Killers of the Flower Moon. It's the first time that a Native American actress has been nominated for Best Actress. Not only that, but she's a plus size actress, which adds even more to the I don't want to say remarkable, because it's not remarkable that she's being nominated and she's plus size. That's not what I'm saying. But she doesn't fit that standard mold, I guess you could say. Right?
Yeah.
So this is a crowning achievement as far as somebody being nominated that fits her mold like that. And by saying it's a damn shame that Margot Robbie wasn't nominated and we're going to boycott the Oscars, you are taking away any sort of accomplishments from this young lady that's also nominated. Now, the director thing, if you want to make an argument that that's sexist because she wasn't nominated and there's only one other female nominated in that field and the rest is men, I don't have a dog in that fight, so I can't speak to that. I don't know, whatever. But the Margot Robbie thing is hard for me to wrap my brain around.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm fine with it, like I said, because I don't feel like she belongs there. Like I don't feel like it's a movie that is Oscar worthy. I don't think it is anything groundbreaking. It's a pretty basic story.
It's easy to follow.
Like
my 12-year-old had no questions about it.
Weird Science-esque, or what's the fucking movie from the 80s that the mannequin came to life?
Oh, it's not Weird Science. It's not Love Potion, is it?
No.
It's just Mannequin, 1987.
Yeah. Andrew McCarthy. So, it's a concept that's been done before with the spin of like these two separate worlds. And like, I'm like, all right, Barbie's a toy. How are these people getting in and out of Barbie land so effortlessly?
Well, it is fantasy. So, I mean, we never want to go down that road of how are these people getting in and out of this land or whatever when it comes to things like that, because we literally clap our hands at a movie where a big purple alien snaps his finger and half the world dies. So
Yeah,
it's like you never want to get into the feasibility argument, because our whole life is predicated by these movies that we watch that are not feasible.
Yeah, well,
I never get into that argument. Now, where I do get in the argument is where plots are written that make absolutely no sense. This happens, and then this happens, but there's no correlation as to how this could have happened. You know what I mean? Because nothing predicated it to make that happen. So I have issues with that as far as feasibility stuff. But yeah, as far as the fantasy thing, that's just that's an argument I cannot win. Because you could just say, well, you watch a thing about a guy that was in the ice for 67 years and then comes out and fights crime. Like, now you're arguing with the feasibility of a movie.
Yeah.
Or Back to the Future or Ghostbusters. I don't know. I think where that movie shines is the performances. I think that's really where it's at. I don't think it's story shining. I think it's visually appealing. I think they did a good job. But the performances are what make that movie shine. And Kate McKinnon's hilarious. Michael Cera's hilarious. Ken was absolutely hilarious. Shang-Chi was hilarious. All the
hilarious. You don't even know his name.
Shang-Chi. Okay, so I saw.
No, I'm talking about the actor, not the character he played.
Simu Liu. Is that how you say it?
I don't know how to say it.
I just didn't want to butcher his name. That's why I didn't say it, because I wasn't entirely confident.
But I degrade him by just calling him Shang-Chi.
But yeah, I don't know. But hell, if I don't have a leg to stand on, then I don't have a leg to stand on. I'm very amicable and being told that I don't have a place. I don't have an argument, so whatever. Speaking of Oscar winners, so last year the Everything Everywhere All at Once won, which I thought was very deserving. I thought that movie was great. The actress Michelle Yeoh, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
I just finished a show with her called The Brother's Son. That show was fucking awesome. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
On Netflix. So essentially, the brother's son. So there's this mom who's played by Michelle Yeoh and her son, and they're just leading these really mundane, he's in school, she works a nursing job, this mundane life. Well, it turns out that she left China. Her husband was the leader of this gang, and she left her husband and her older son there so she could come down here, come to the US to keep her younger son protected. And she knew some information. She had to come down or whatever. And it's just a bunch of killing and fight scenes and fucking awesomeness. And I binged it like in 2 days, I think. Fucking awesome show.
Nice. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So if you're into seeing blood and people's heads getting kicked in and shot in the head and all this other fucking shit,
always.
That's a good show.
Always. Sweet. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. But, this article just came up on my screen. Andre 3000 says Ludacris took his role in the Fast and Furious movies during Colbert Questionnaire.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares about Fast and Furious anymore? I love those movies, but
did you see the one Chris Nolan talking about how much he loves Fast and
yeah,
Furious?
that he likes them.
I thought that was funny. Speaking of Andre 3000, I want a sequel to Four Brothers because that movie is badass. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, but didn't one of them die?
Yeah, the younger brother dies. The one with the Sparta tattoo on his arm. But Mark Wahlberg, Andre 3000, and Tyrese Gibson, is that the other one? Yeah, they're all still alive. They've been talking about a Four Brothers sequel for years since it first came out, and it just never got made. But I don't know. Do you have anything else on your list? I feel like we went down on a tangent with the whole Oscar thing.
No, I was just gonna end it there. That's kind of again, it's caught up in everything that happened. I was gonna get. I know this is gonna come out after, but let's see how good we are at this. What is your final score prediction and who wins the Super Bowl?
I think it's gonna be Kansas City. I think the end score is gonna be somewhere. I'm not good with calculating exact scores. I just kind of see them. I don't feel like it's going to be a terribly high scoring game, so I'm thinking somewhere around the range of like 27-21. But I think Kansas City wins by at least a touchdown. I don't think it comes down to a field goal or anything like that. But I truly think Kansas City's going to win. And that might be just being hopeful because I hate the 49ers. So
yeah,
I might be hopeful that Kansas City wins. And typically when I'm hopeful for a team to win, they don't. So, like, for instance, I rooted for your Green Bay Packers to win, and they didn't. And then I rooted for the Lions to beat the Niners, and they didn't. What a fucking fuck up that was. The Lions. They had that game in their hand.
So did the Packers. It was the same shit that happened to the Packers. You watched that same thing play out a week prior.
But they completely, Jordan Love was phenomenal these last few. I mean, I remember you posting at the beginning of the season, this guy's a schmuck. Like,
he was the first 10 games, he was a bum.
But
and then after they beat Kansas City, he was just roll. After they beat Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then Kansas City, he was just rolling.
Yeah, they lit it up. But I really don't want the Niners to win because Niners fans are so fucking annoying.
I think it's going to be 24-27 Niners.
All right, well, let's see what happens next week. I guess we have two things to talk about next week. Madden Web is coming out, right?
Mm-hmm. All the Super Bowl commercials.
All the Super Bowl commercials. And then we're probably going to talk about the actual game.
Yeah.
And then maybe we should keep a score of how many times we see Taylor Swift. Hey, can I say something about that Taylor Swift thing?
What's up?
I've heard so many people saying all these people are complaining about Taylor Swift. Have you heard anybody complaining about Taylor Swift being shown on the screen?
Yes.
I have not seen anything about people complaining about it.
Yes, like every NFL fan complains about it.
It doesn't bother me. Like, it's no different than anybody, like anytime there's celebrities at any game. I mean, the basketball games have been doing that for years.
Well, I mean, basketball games, you see them sitting courtside, but like they're not panning over to the celebrities every time someone makes a big play or a touchdown. Like Travis Kelce scores a touchdown, the first thing they do is pan to Taylor Swift celebrating in the box instead of what's going on the field. And
it doesn't bother me. Game. It doesn't bother me. It's how many touchdowns did he score in the playoffs? 3?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I just feel like of all the arguments, of all the shit going on in the world, why is that bothering you? Who the fuck cares? In my mind, it just brings, like, I've never heard so many people that would never watch football now asking questions about football. Like, that to me is the real win here. Is hell yeah, let's get more football fans. Right? Let's get more people understanding football. I mean, it's not a worldwide sport. It's the only not worldwide sport, right? Football. If you think about it, like of all the major sports leagues that we have in the United States, it's the only one that doesn't have this worldwide reach, right?
It's getting there.
It's getting there, but it's nowhere near what basketball is. It's nowhere near what baseball is. Hockey wasn't even our sport. It started in another country, right? Like basketball is huge in like China, and I mean, it's in the Olympics. Baseball's huge. Half their players are from
the DR,
Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominican Republic. Like they're half their players are coming from all these Latin countries. And basketball's huge in China. I mean, Yao Ming for years was like the #1 selling jersey just because he was a Chinese guy on a professional basketball league. And the Lakers have a huge following in China, to the point where LeBron had to apologize for his Taiwan comment. Football doesn't have it. So the more eyes on football, I think, is better for the league.
Yeah, I agree. That's why they're playing games in Brazil next year, and they've got the London games, and
we've been Cardinals have been playing in Mexico City for years. But I mean, I think the problem with baseball is it's really easy to have like these international games, right? So baseball, basketball, and maybe the basketball thing is because they do the Olympics and they're playing against all these other countries and it's world televised, So basketball has that going for it. Baseball has, like, if you were to take a team and have them play in another country, it's really easy to bring a baseball team over because it's not, the fatigue isn't there like with football. But football, you fly them to London, they play a game, they fly back, they're all fatigued. Like it adds a lot. That's why I'm a proponent. Like, if you play a London game, your next week should be a bye week. That's why I've always been a proponent for that.
They're finely tuned athletic machines that get paid millions of dollars to play a game for a living.
Yeah, but they complain about it.
Sound off in the comments in our chat, letting us know what your thoughts on any of the topics we covered tonight are.
Let me know how I'm wrong.
Hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will hopefully see you guys right back here next week. So for this week's episode of the Absolute Geek Podcast, I'm Matt.
I am Lance.
And keep on keeping on. Life's a garden. Dig it. Everybody love everybody. Say something nice to someone.
Love your neighbor.
All you freaks and geeks,
come all you freaks and geeks, let's listen to Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek.
We'll go ahead and spread our cheeks,
Spread the cheeks.
And drink some Cosby wine.
We'll drink some Cosby wine. It makes me feel real fine. See you next time on the Absolute Geek.